2, the latching in vector.
Okay.
And of course, we have another brief satellite handover. Teams here in Michigan concluding the status of the astronauts inside the space station, of course our astronauts outside and keeping up with those tasks, as well as the consumables for the astronauts, including their oxygen rates inside the suits.
No, this one did not go all the way over.
Copy, black on black. And we're just back with you from a handover, so if you
Hold on.
called a pull twist test, we missed it.
Hold on. Oh, I got the black on black. It didn't twist yet. Feels like it's in, but it hasn't twisted. Collar's not going back yet.
Copy. A couple of notes for Sultan while Steve works that. One is that we're out of the range for your erratic sensor, so we're not worried about that anymore. For your glove, what we want you to do is take a look at the flap and see if you can look underneath it and make sure that there's no additional damage to any other of the glove structure other than that RTV. And just a reminder that on the index finger, you've got that turtle skin underneath that RTV as well.
I copy, and I did report initially that that flap has another RTV flap, but nothing is exposed. Rubber.
Okay, good words. Thanks for double checking that. So Sultan, your next step is going to be to pre-stage the long wire tie on the clamshell MLI. So just double check that you got wire tie left.
Again, if I'm going to get any from the caddy, I only have short on the majority.
Okay, yeah, we agree with that. Sorry about that. I put that in there. So we'll grab one long wire tie clamshell MLI.
Right, copy and work.
The collar. Looks like it's in there. Collar does not want to move. Any suggestions?
We're taking a look.
There we go. Oh, but then he came out. Well, okay, now I got 12. Got a black on black, but it's not in.
Okay, we copy that it might just be on this soft capture.
It's in soft capture. Hold on. And that's 12. All right, now I got a good twist. The black on black. Yeah, collar is very stiff. I think that's a big part of this. It is in place. But
okay, Steve.
blocking the 12, black on black, big wiggle pull.
And we're checking, Steve. We may have you double check it.
Teams on the ground helping NASA astronaut Steve Bowen troubleshoot the install of the articulating portable footprint on mid-arm 2. Meanwhile, we saw the International Space Station enter an orbital daylight.
Okay, Steve, we're going to have a good rally where a little later and
We're going to do a full test on that.
Okay,
I got black on black. I got a wiggle full test.
all right, that is good. We appreciate the setup. So your next step is going to be to assist Sultan with the RFG setup.
Okay. All right.
And
Set off the PFR.
so we can have one of you install the long wire tie onto the clamshell MLI, and we'll be assessing the clamshell MLI for snugness, and then we also need to retrieve the EVA scissors and cut the MLI strap.
I have the wires, Steve, and I'll install them now. Clamshell.
Okay, let me get cleaned up a little bit. Hold on, I just gotta. Yeah, what's the key is down. There it goes. All right, hold on, I'm coming up. All right.
And Steve, we think what you could start doing is undoing the quarter turn fasteners on the MLI tent.
I can do that.
And Sultan, you can move over to that clamshell MLI for the long wire tie.
See that, and just shift each other is in the end, surprisingly. Can I drop a green hook somewhere? Pay attention that the green hook is, green wheel is reached the limit. But that's fair lead, maybe. We'll check.
And Sultan, yes, you can drop your green hook. So we recommend one method would be to fair lead over by the port airlock toolboxes. But you can also put your green hook down to get your tetherers out of the way wherever you see fit, probably toward the airlock on ESP2.
Disregard that, and I think it was the red wheel caught behind the ESP structure. Now I have enough room to work.
Yep.
Yeah, we copy.
And I do not see the quarter turn. I don't see the quarter turn fasteners on the backside, correct?
Nothing on the deck, just the
ones over here and the ones on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's just ISS forward in port and on the high gain side. There should be 10 total. And then on the ISS starboard side, there's going to be a MLI Velcro flap that you can remove.
I can't get up there.
Well, it's on groups.
We copy, Sultan. And just a reminder on the, a couple cautions for you guys around the antenna. We don't want to exert any more than about 7 pounds into the high gain antenna. We want to minimize loads on the low gain antenna. And once we open it up, we want to avoid the white paint on the RFG and minimize loading into the flat face of the clamshell.
All right, it's copy.
Everyone copy.
Think that's enough, Steve, or?
Yeah, you gotta go twist it on there. Tuck it back through again, then twist it.
As our spacewalkers begin work on removing the radio frequency group as part of the S-band antenna, if you look in the background at beautiful Earth, just above it is our moon.
I'll twist it.
You can kind of how much it moves on the antenna itself. This will display the RFG when we feed it into the airlock.
I'll try to do a better job of typing this. I think, Steve.
Take the open end and tuck it around it 3 times. Just tuck it in and around it and fold it down. So bring it back out. No, you don't have to do that.
I'll do a flap, maybe.
Okay, that's fine.
That will help. I think
you need to tuck it back through at least 1 more time.
Sure.
And Steve, by your left hand, there's kind of a Velcro seam along the RFG. You can open that up, getting ready to peel it back whenever you're ready.
Okay, that's all good. All right, you can get the last 2 quarter turns there on this side.
You will do that.
Yeah, I can't quite reach them.
And Sultan, your next step, you can retrieve the EVA scissors from the crew lock bag 1, and we'll be cutting the MLI strap.
All right. Copy and unlock.
And Steve, we'll have you stand by on the MLI until we get the strap cut.
Okay.
As we get that MLI open, reminder to those of you that we've seen some MMOD strikes on the RFG, and so we want to minimize touching any potential MMOD strike areas and that Z93 paint area.
Okay, let me know my APFR settings. I'll make sure I'm good there. Let's
APFR settings 12, Papa Papa, Fox 6.
All right, I think I'm there.
Okay, I have my scissors, EVA scissors in hand. This is my location for the cut.
Copy, Sultan. And when you're at the clamshell, can you give us any words on how snug the clamshell is on the RFG antenna?
But the wire tie is tight, and I don't think it's like a proper grabbing point, but it's definitely close with the wire tie. Best effort, and it's tight. But it is rotating. If I do that, it does rotate.
Okay, with that then, Sultan, we are go for you to cut the MLI strap nearest the clamshell that connects the clamshell to the tent.
All right, we'll do that. Cut near the clamshell.
The first step in removing the radio frequency group is to remove the MLI, the multi-layer insulation that has protected the hardware. The RFG was not designed to be retrieved during an EVA.
That you did get the small end of the large small on the handrail, correct?
It is, but the large hook is still free. Where do I need to put it?
Okay, copy. Yeah, the small hook on the handrail. And then we have a request for you to close the EMU scissors, or the scissors, until you're ready to use them.
Okay, I'm ready to use them.
Okay, you're going to cut that MLI, and we're about 15 seconds from a handover.
All right, copy.
We are back with you on voice, waiting on video.
No problem, and MLI is cut. Waiting for words on that. It is cut and with no part, no residue on the both sides. Just a small flap on the RFG clamshell.
All right, copy. You can stow the EVA scissors in the crew lock bag, and I hope that was fun. We rarely get to cut things on EVA. And your next step is going to be removing the MLI tent and attaching it to that large ret that you have staged.
Right.
Steve, we're going to have you move toward the arm and have you start performing safety and get ready for ingress.
Okay, let's talk me through that real quick. Sure I'm doing it right.
Yes. So for the safety tether swap, you want to make sure your waist tether is and your first step is to lock your green tether reel.
Lock green. Green is locked.
Copy green lock. Check that your green hook gate is closed and the hook is locked.
My green hook gate is closed and locked.
You can now relocate your yellow hook to the SSRMS handrail tether point.
Okay, going on to the yellow hook is going to the SSRMS. We'll put it on the forward handrail tether point. That's gate closed, slider lock.
Hook locked on the yellow on the handrail tether point. Your next step is to attach your green hook to ESP2 handrail 8011.
8011 green hook, that's in work. All right, 8011.
Copy green hook.
Installed.
Copy the green hook on 8011, and you can unlock the green tether reel.
Unlock green tether reel.
And when you do that, you want to verify that the tether reel and the cable are clear of the RFG removal path.
That will be probably once I get the weights on that side clear of it.
3 hours and 35 minutes.
My right safety tether, my right weight tether, 8011. I'm going to lock it. I'm going to undo my red hook from my left steering suspender and put it on the other side of the green hook. No, actually, I can just undo the green hook. Never mind. Now undo the green hook again, put it on the other side of my red hook.
Yeah, that's where we were just getting to. If we leave your load path, and then we can just redo the green hook.
Yep, I agree with you. Sometimes I have to think a little bit harder than I have been, I guess.
And with that, Steve, that completes the safety tether swap procedure. So you can just verify your load path is clear. Your next step is going to be to ingress the APFR. Sultan, we see you opening and restraining the 10 MLI. And let us know when you have that on the large hook of the large small red.
It is attached already to the Velcro loop. Just want to work this more in a low profile for the removal and the NZG operation.
Copy, good words. And would also take a baseline inspection when you have a chance of the white paint on the RFG from what you both can see.
All right, cool.
All right, I feel much better about that.
As Steve Bowen prepares to ingress the articulating portable foot restraint, is doing some multi-layer installation from the S-band antenna. This will allow them to more easily access and remove the RFG, the radio frequency group, which will be taken inside the space station.
For Steve, as you get to the ingress, you're going to make sure your tools and tethers are clear, that the ingress aid is stowed, and you can attach your waist tether to the ingress.
Okay, my weight tether is attached to the ingress aid. I'm going to detach myself from ESP2 and ingress the APFR.
Copy. And Sultan, when you're complete with the baseline inspection, we'll take any words on any damage or flaking that you may see, and then we'll go for the cables.
All right, stand by and in work.
And I do see some MOD price. The one it was shown in the pictures right in front of me, just left of the J1 connection. I do see just smaller ones all around. I don't know if you see my camera view. Just tiny, maybe.
We see a little bit in your camera. If you look up a little bit more, we've got a good view of the rest of the box from Steve's camera. Yeah. To demate the SASA cables from the RFG and give us an inspection. That's going to be the P9 from the J9 and the P1 from the J1. And then you're going to get the caps from the crew lock bag and cap both ends.
All right, we'll do that. J9 from P9 and then J1 from P1. Thanks.
That's correct.
Okay, and I have ingressed the APFR. I think I'm ingressed the APFR. All my headers are clear of ESP, and I think I'm ready to go to the removal position.
Yep, and from Steve, we'll get a glove and a hap check from you. But before we take the comm for Robo, Sultan, are you good for your next couple steps? You're going to demate those cables. You're going to retrieve the cap keeper from the crew lock bag, and then you're going to put the caps and the plugs on both cable ends and both box connections.
Absolutely, and I did make G9 and P9, and I see no fault, good fence, and good EMI band. Never back, fully forward, fully backward, over center. Anything the other one, do a quick inspection, then you can translate to Steve.
And Steve, if you want to give a double check on your feet on the APFR, we thought we might have seen a little bit of movement on your left heel. Correction, right heel. Right heel.
I was checking it. I was trying to play with it.
Right, thanks. I think here on the K1, B1, good pins, no fault, good EMI bands, ready to cover all of these.
Okay, Sultan, you are go to get all the caps, and we'll get words on those after we move the arm. And so for Steve, did you get your glove and hap check?
Hey, glove's good, hap is track.
All right, Steve, you can you have the comms to give Frank the go to GCA to the RFG retrieval position.
I'm going to try and get my right foot back in first. That feels good. Okay, Frank. I need to go station forward 30 centimeters I gave you, and then you can go GTA to the RFG removal position.
Steve, we copy. Brakes are coming off. Begin GCA to publish. We'll start with that 30 centimeters station forward, follow it up with 70 centimeters station starboard. Starting motion station forward.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Actually, sorry, stand by one. We got to set up one thing.
The voice of NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg, who will be controlling the Canadarm2 as he begins to relocate Steve Bowen on the end of the Canadarm2. It'll put him in a proper position to remove some bolts that are on the RFG. Sultan in the background has demated 2 cables from the radio frequency group and is installing caps to protect them for future use.
Steve, we're starting motion station forward for 24 centimeters.
That sounds good. I'm ready. Take good motion.
Copy, good motion. Okay, Steve, starting motion station starboard for 70 centimeters.
That looks like good motion.
Good motion.
Stop motion.
Motion.
Okay, let me take a look. I need about 20 centimeters station starboard, and then 20 centimeters station see. You were going starboard, right? So station later.
Okay, Steve, we copy 20 more centimeters, continue station starboard, and then 20 centimeters station nadir.
I think that'll do it.
All right, start in motion, station starboard.
Motion.
Copy, good motion.
Actually, station zenith. I'm sorry, I had that backwards.
Okay, Steve, we copy station zenith. That should be towards your feet and your left side.
Thank you.
Starting motion, station zenith.
Great motion.
Copy, good motion.
Right, you can stop motion there.
Copy in hold position.
And you set brakes on. That's a great position. Thank you.
We copy GCA complete. Stand by for brakes. Steve, brakes are on. Your go for RFG bolt release.
All right. Thank you.
And we copy that the brakes are back on. So Steve, big picture, when Sultan is done installing the caps, he's going to hand you a large, small ret. And you're going to put that large, small ret to the driving the bolts.
I understand.
Some acronym breakdown for you. Steve Bowen will be receiving. He will be attaching a retractable equipment tether to the radio frequency group, since that will soon be released from the space station. He'll be using a PGT, or a pistol grip tool, to release 8 structural bolts. After those have been released, he will release 1 jacking bolt. Sultan Alneyadi is meanwhile finishing up removing some of those cables from the S-band to the RFG itself and installing caps, as those will be reinstalled in the future once the RFG is replaced.
I see I'm finishing the last cap. For some reason it's not getting as I expected.
We copy.
And one cap is installed on J1. The other one is looking for a better alignment here.
We copy. And Sultan, if it gives you a little more workspace, you can take the hook off of the cap that you have installed.
Right, copy.
Okay, both caps installed. Full test. Releasing the hooks.
Nicely done. You can release those hooks, and the caddy's going to go back to the crew lock bag. And then when you're the crew lock bag, you can pick up 2 large, small rets, and you'll be handing one of those over to Steve. And we can have Steve start to drive bolts while Sultan continues to tack down the cables.
All right.
And Steve, just a reminder for you that you do have the page in your cuff if you want to take a look at the orientation. But in general, if you look at the bolts, the middle jacking bolt is bolt E. And then just to the left of that is F. And F is going to be the first one that you do. And then you're going to go basically one left, one right, two left, two right, all the way to the ends.
Copy.
Yep, that is good. And then hopefully we won't need to know this, but if you look to the left of the leftmost bolt and to the right of the rightmost bolt is where you'd see the spring plungers kind of perpendicular to the bolts. Pretty small little spring plungers.
Those guys.
Yeah, that's a good spot. And one more orientation note for you, Steve. When you go to remove it, I know we talked about this a lot in the conferences, but the motion that you'll want to do is kind of a yawing motion where you would push slightly with your right and pull with your left and then vice versa. So just a real slight yaw onto the RFG.
Copy. Just keep it basically flat. Don't lift it till it clears. And we should be able to pull it basically straight back out.
Yep, we agree with those words.
I think I've got enough flow here to get it out.
I think you're ready, Steve.
Yep, just waiting on the long duration, the large flow.
Thank you.
This view from NASA astronaut Steve Bowen's helmet camera. Again, this is Bowen's 8th spacewalk, using his handheld camera to take some photos of the hardware and maybe even Earth below. The International Space Station is currently flying at 260 statute miles over Paraguay.
Give you a small hook.
Copy. I have the small hook. And now let me get that in place. Okay, I have a small hook on. Release the large hook. Thank you. The large hook is going on the RFG. Back in place.
Yep, we see that the large small is on the RFG. So for Sultan, you can move back to the Kulak bag, and actually we need actually not quite yet. So we're going to have you secure the stanchion cables P1 and P9 to the stanchion with a wire tie, and then you can stow the cap keeper there in Kulak bag 1.
Okay, copy.
And for Steve, we are ready to drive the bolts. Just a reminder around the RFG to watch for sharp edges. Your PGT settings are Bravo 1, counter 2.
All right, let me get the cal check down here. Powering on. The cal. Motor. There's the cal pass. The D-test is good. And 41.17 volts. Sound right? Right, 41.17 volts. Anyone looking for what now?
You want to set Bravo 1, counter 2.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2. Okay, got Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2. And the fifth bolt from the left is the fourth bolt from the right.
Yep, so it'll be the fourth bolt from the left will be your first one. So F1, it's going to be one to the left of the jacking bolt.
Okay, so they're numbered A through A from the right. Okay, one to the left of the jacking bolt. And I'm starting at how many turns?
That's correct, and you should expect about 6 to 12.8 turns.
Okay, that's in work. First bolt is 7.
Again, Steve Bowen will release 8 of these structural bolts. He's using the PGT, or the pistol grip tool. It's essentially a drill. And it helps for him to be in the articulating portable foot restraint that's mounted to the Canadarm 2, so that he has some...
Like the heel coil's coming out. It is loose and clear now, though. Maybe that's just the spring. Must just be the spring. Spring clear on Foxtrot. I'm ready for Delta.
Copy. We are ready for Delta.
That was 12.0 turns.
Copy. 12.0.
Hear that? Back to counterclockwise 2, going for Delta.
Concur.
Having stable footing during these turns keeps Bowen from rotating with the drill.
All right. That was 12.0 turns as well.
Copy. 12.0 on bolt Delta. So you go for block Golf, third from the left.
Third from the left didn't work. That feels like it's clear as well. And another 12 turns. All right.
Copy. Another 12 turns for block Golf. Your next will be block Charlie, third from the right.
All right. And I got 10.4 turns there on Charlie. And now I'm over to Hotel.
We concur. And copy 10.4 on Charlie and Hotel. Onto Hotel.
And 10.5 turns on Hotel. Bravo. Next.
Good words. Bolt Bravo, and we copied 10.5 on Bolt Hotel.
We're now 4 hours since the start of today's spacewalk. Steve Bowen now helping release 8 bolts. That will help remove the RFG, the radio frequency group.
NVGL cables, you want them anywhere in the station?
Yes, Sultan, you can go anywhere onto that stanchion so that they're secure and clear of the RFG removal path.
And 12 turns. And now to India.
And Sultan, just to clarify my last, we want those cables tacked down to anywhere that's on the same structure as the RFG.
Understood. It's going to be on the same statue that's carrying the RFG.
Copy.
Turning on me, sorry about that. Somewhere around 12 turns. Okay. Alpha.
And we copy that you're on to Alpha.
I got 13 turns there. Please check all the strings.
We copy all the bolts and
It's Shirley. I figure out which one's my Shirley and this one and golf might be worth another chart or two if that's okay.
And Steve, we are good with that if you want to put a couple of turns into golf.
All right. And they all seem run out. They all push back. Okay. Good. I think I'm ready for echo.
Okay, and we're going to stand by one and get Sultan in a position to monitor.
Bowen has released all 8 structural bolts from the radio frequency group.
And so, Sultan, we would like you to move into position to see the aft side of the RFG during removal. Reminder for both of you is that after the center jacking bolt is released, we only want to pull the RFG towards Steve, not up. And to beware of sharp edges on the stanchion mounting plate and the RFG base once that RFG is removed.
All right, I copy all, and just give me a second, Steve, to position yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stand by.
This view from Sultan Alneyadi's helmet camera, who's moving into position to help with the removal of the RFG. Bowen will remove one more bolt, known as the jacking bolt. The hardware would then only be in soft dock.
And if you're okay with this, if they're okay with this, I'd like to move the big hook to my right-hand side.
And Steve, you are go to move that.
Thank you.
Sultan, for your positioning, we specifically want you to look at the aft side of the RFG where that soft dock catch is and monitor it tracking.
Right. Reposition myself here. Give me a second.
No worries. And we'll have time to tack down those cables once the RFG is removed.
That's it.
Okay, Steve, I have the apps view of the RFG. You are go to release. Okay.
And we concur. And Steve, just one note, you're about 8 minutes to sunset if you need to reconfigure anything before you have your hands full.
I think I'll be okay. What's up again?
Okay, so for releasing the RFG center jacking bolt, you are go to release that. It's the same settings, Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2, and you're expecting about 24.5 to 30.5 turns.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2, 24 to 30.5 turns. That's going in work. All right. All right, getting turns. Okay, torqued out at 4.64 turns at 12.1 pounds.
And we copy, standby 1. All right, Steve, as you can imagine, this puts us in a crib sheet, so we are going to run you through the steps here. The first thing we want you to do is, and you got to give a good call, but just re-verify that all of the structural bolts are fully released, that they're spring-loaded and should free spin and pop up.
All right, let me put my GT away and I'll double check all those. Okay.
And Sultan, as he drove that jacking bolt, did you see any movement on the soft dock couch?
Negative. To me, it was the same, and I didn't see any apparent motion.
Yeah, everything seems loose.
Okay, copy.
All right, and I think everything's loose. Good spring on each one of them. Obviously, sometimes hard to tell when you can't turn. But, yeah, they all seem to spin, actually.
Okay, Steve, so we're going to have you re-verify that the socket is fully engaged, and we're going to re-attempt a release with the same settings, Bravo 1, counter 2.
Hey, Bravo 1, counter 2. Bravo 1, clockwise 2. It is fully seated. And torques that with a 2 additional turns.
We copy it torqued out. Standby 1. And we're going to talk about this for just a minute.
Okay.
NASA astronaut Steve Bowen and United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Alneyadi are on their first spacewalk together, the fourth of the year.
And still no words for you quite yet, but just for your awareness that we're talking about it because with the low turn count that we did get on the jacking bolt, it tells us that it's still engaged in the aft section. So we were talking about our next steps.
I agree. Yep.
The spacewalk began 4 hours and 10 minutes ago, and the astronauts are on their second major task, which is to remove the RFG, the radio frequency group, from the S-band antenna. The RFG is the computer and electronics that control the S-band system. Bowen just released 8 structural bolts and is working to remove the one jacking bolt. Bowen was able to execute fewer turns than were expected when using the pistol grip tool.
Have you put your PGT on Bravo 1 clockwise too? So we're going to basically drive it in a little bit and then reattempt a nominal release torque. So we're going to drive the bolt only one turn on Bravo 1 clockwise too.
Okay. Okay, Bravo 1, clockwise 2, you do one turn.
Good words.
That's fully seated. And it torques only. And it torqued out at 12.0 as well. And no 0.004 turns.
Okay, we understand that it only went 0.004 and torqued out. Check. About a second, so you might want to take a picture. We're going to have to talk about this for a sec.
This is from Mission Control Houston as we are in a satellite handover during the spacewalk. Teams here are troubleshooting the removal of the RFG, the radio frequency group that Bowen is working on. He's using the pistol grip tool to remove a jacking bolt that has given fewer turns than expected. Teams previously have outlined several different ways they can troubleshoot this, so they are working through those right now.
Already.
That's correct.
We are back with you at the handover, but we are still chatting.
Okay.
And Sultan, while we're waiting for words, you can go ahead and finish tacking down those cables if you'd like.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Steve, here's the plan. We talked earlier about kind of the yaw motion to wiggle the RFG. So this is where you're going to gently push on your left and pull on your right, and then vice versa to see if there's any bit of play. It's really critical right here that we don't go up and down. So you only want to go left and right with a slight yaw. And once you've worked that a little bit, we're going to reattempt.
I see no play.
Copy, we understand no play.
Right and left, see no play. No play.
Copy, we're going to have you reattempt one more time of the nominal release, Bravo 1, counter 2.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2.
Good read back.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2. No joy. I got 0.1, 12.4 pounds torqued out.
Okay, we copy, Steve. Stand by 1.
Coming up on 4 hours and 20 minutes into the spacewalk, again, Steve Bowen working to remove the RFG, the radio frequency group, part of the S-band antenna. One jacking bolt is being quite stubborn. The team's here helping troubleshoot next steps for Bowen as he uses the pistol grip tool to release the RFG from its stanchion.
And Steve, just letting you know, we are still talking about it. This is kind of a unique case that puts us in between a few things. So we'll get words back to you in just a minute.
I understand.
I am sure you do. And Sultan, we still don't have our next steps, but it may include the pry bar. So just to save a little time, we'd like you to retrieve the pry bar from crew lock bag 1.
I understand, and I think I'll stand by for those cables because I don't have a good reach under this tension, but I'm out of G without touch. So I'll stand by for that and I'll prepare the pry bar.
Good plan, Sultan. Thanks. And for both crew, while we continue to talk about this, we'd like to take a glove and HEP check. And for your awareness, that's a time-based one. You're about 4.5 hours PET.
Copy. And if you want good gloves, half is dry.
And for EV2, no change on the gloves, all the same, and half is still dry.
Copy. Thank you both.
So, Todd, is there even a lip you can get that pry bar into back there?
I think so, yes.
Okay. It hasn't backed off any that we can tell, but I can tell anyway.
But will it work without removing the jack and bolts?
I don't know.
You guys are talking about what everybody down here is talking about, but standby 1.
Yep.
Okay, here's the next steps that we're going to try. Sultan, you guys were kind of reading our minds up there. We're going to have you go to with that pry bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to line the pry bar up in the middle of the RFG with a small end, and let us know if you can get, if there's a lip or like a catch. You want to put the kind of the tooth of the pry bar down, and then so that when you lift up on it, it'll push forward on the RFG only direction of the bolts.
I think I have a small lip here, and myself make it orientation, and then fiber can be positioned.
Okay, and just to let you know, both the overall plan, we're going to see if we can see, once you see any movement at all, then you can stop what you're doing and we'll try that bolt again. And again, we want to make sure that you're in this as close to the center of the RFG as you can so we don't side load it. There is an alignment right in the middle of it, so you're going to have to go just to one side of that. And when you do put the force into it, it's going to be a slow, steady force. We don't want any impulsing.
Nice copy.
Yeah, and just a little further words, we don't want any kind of impulse hits on it. And the limit is about 75 pounds, but just a nice smooth turn on the crowbar or the pry bar to see if you can get that pushed.
Yeah, I think it's positioned very well, but my orientation is not great for flying full force. I did push a little bit, and it did not move.
Okay, Sultan, and you can reposition as you see fit to make sure we're getting a good force impulse or press smoothly onto the aft side of it. And Sultan, if it's easier at the work site, you can do the computer part.
Okay. Right. It's not moving. I'm going to force it too much.
Okay, we copy Sultan.
Negative motion, nothing.
Okay, stand by. Okay, Steve, we are going to have you try one more time, Bravo 1, counter 2 on the jacking bolt. Sultan, we want you to stay clear of the aft side and just observe. We don't want the pry bar in there at all.
Okay. Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2, bolt E. All right, I got 0.15 turns and broke down 12.4.
Okay, we copy. Okay, Steve, we're going to try one more time driving in the bolt, one turn. So it's going to be Bravo 1, clockwise 2, one turn only.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2, I need the cow, hold on. Test 3.1 volts. Okay, so clockwise 2, Bravo 1, clockwise 2. Is that correct? One turn.
Yeah, and that's correct. Driving in clockwise, one turn.
Okay, here we go. Worked out at 0.11 turns. 0.0 about.
Okay, Steve, and we're going to go Bravo 1, counter 2 again to reattempt.
Bravo 1, counter 2, reattempt. Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2. Right. 0.11 turns, 12.3 for pounds.
Yeah, we copy that, Steve, and we're going to talk about it for another minute.
Absolutely.
We're over 4.5 hours into today's spacewalk. Our two astronauts, Steve Bowen, this is from his helmet camera view right here, and Sultan Alneyadi have completed the first major task of the day, which was to route some cables that will be used on future iROSAs, some rollout solar arrays that will be installed later this year, as well as to secure some multi-layer insulation around the hardware in that area. They've moved on to the second major task of the day, which is to remove the from the antenna. One has removed.
Okay, gentlemen, the next step that we're going to take is we're going to coordinate those two movements. So, Sultan, we're going to have you place the pry bar where you had it before, and Steve, you're going to reattempt to disengage with a nominal torque of Bravo 1, counter 2, and then coordinate your movements so that Sultan is pushing on the back at the same time that Steve is driving the bolt.
All right, Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2. And, John, if you're ready. Okay, hold on. Let me get it clear. All right. All right, I torqued out again. And no motion here. Points.
We stand by 1.
The RFG was not designed to be removed during a walk. And there's one bolt that's giving the astronauts trouble right now, so teams on the ground are helping them step through some additional procedures that may help them remove this piece of hardware. The goal is for the team to remove the hardware, bring it inside the space station, and eventually return it to Earth for refurbishment before it is launched back again.
Twenty seconds to hand over.
Okay.
We are still with you both, and we're still talking it.
Okay.
Again, this view live inside Mission Control Houston as NASA astronaut Steve Bowen and UAE astronaut Sultan Alneyadi are on a spacewalk today outside the International Space Station. Right now, they are troubleshooting the removal of the RFG, the radio frequency group is the brains, essentially, of the orbital replacement unit on the S-band system. It contains the computer and electronics that control it. We're looking to remove this piece of conceit from NASA astronaut Steve Bowen's helmet camera inside the space station for eventual refurbishment.
Okay, the next step that we're going to have you both try is a combination of the pry bar on the back with Sultan and then the wiggle on the front with you, Steve. We're thinking that we need to overcome a little bit of stiction between the RFG and the mounting plate. And so some gentle yawing at the same time as we use the pry bar on the back.
Okay, tell me when you're in position, Sultan.
One.
Just get in a good position where you can be steady, with a steady push.
3. Okay, I'm in position.
Okay, and we'll start yawing. Left, right. Ain't no motion. Are you seeing anything? Oh. Okay, good steady push on it.
I am.
Yeah, it looks like it. You can see your reflection in your helmet, by the way. Behind there. See nothing. Continuing to yaw.
Okay, we copied the notions so that Sultan, I know we have talked about not lifting RFG, but it's stuck in the position that we're at. That's kind of our next best option. So Sultan, we're going to have you flip the pry bar around and put the long edge just under the RFG and gently try to lift slightly up on the RFG. And what we're trying to do is exercise some of that stiction between the RFG and the stanchion plate.
Right, copy, if it doesn't work. Wrong side.
And just to clarify, no action for you on this one, Steve.
I'm just standing back there and watching.
On both sides.
And Sultan, those are good motions, and we'll just have you continue that all the way out to the edges of the box. And Steve, just so you can be ready, after he's exercised the full length of the RFG, we'll have you attempt re-release on Bravo 1, counter 2, one more time. And you guys are about 3 minutes.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2.
Those are good words. And you're about 3 minutes from a sunrise. And just so you know, we walk timeline, we have a few more minutes to troubleshoot before we'll have to move on.
Copy.
Okay, try this in all stations at the back. Go, Steve.
Okay.
All right, and Steve, you are go to reattempt the center jacking bolt, Bravo 1, counter 2.
Good green light. For 3 turns, 0.3 turns. 0.3 for pound, 0.3 turns.
We copy. Stand by 1. Okay, big picture on the potential next steps. We're not taking the action yet, but there's a couple of associated words here. So the next step is going to be to increase the PGT to Bravo 7. And note that the PGT will only, it'll ramp up the torque that it puts into the bolt until it starts moving. There is a warning associated that this is going to be above the failure torque of the bolt. Increasing in the torque may break the bolt, presenting loose hardware and potential sharp edges at the bolt interface on both RFG and the stanchion, so be prepared for FOD with a small trash bag and avoid contact with the bolt interface.
Copy. Okay.
I think call you.
Coming up on 4 hours and 50 minutes into the spacewalk, we have an orbital sunrise on the International Space Station. Station flying 262 statute miles over the Sea of Japan. This view coming from Steve Bowen's helmet camera, NASA astronaut on his 8th spacewalk today. Teams here on the ground are working to troubleshoot a stuck bolt on this RF radio frequency.
And that's how we take this next step.
Absolutely. A little more forward, just off the button.
A good one.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, Steve and Sultan, here's the plan. Steve, we are going to have you do Bravo 7, counter 2. Sultan, at the same time, we're going to have you gently push with a pry bar on the back side. And keep in mind that the PGT is only going to put in as much force as needed to start driving that bolt. So if you get an indication that the bolt is broken, as in it's free spinning and the box is not moving anywhere, go ahead and stop. Sultan, as soon as you see motion on the box, stop. Bar.
I copy all.
I copy all as well.
All right.
Where do you want to go, Steve?
Bravo 7, counterclockwise 2. Is that correct? Okay, get good position on this. I'm getting close. Oh, it broke. And let it
Yep, and we see that.
collect. I'm not going to try to catch the washers.
And Steve, did you see where the bolt head went, or did that stay captive on your PGT?
Not yet. I haven't checked the end of the PGT yet. All right.
Copy.
Oh, it was at the end of the PGT. I have the bolt head in hand. Put it in my trash bag.
One washer was going 4 minutes. They wasn't getting. They went zenith and forward. On your left.
Okay, we copy your tracking, Sultan. Okay, we're going to need a minute to talk about this one. If you see any loose items, please let us know where you see them going. If you don't catch them, we'll take those words, and we're going to talk about this one for a minute.
All right, I've got the bolt head in the trash bag. Oh, I have.
And then there is a washer just on top of Steve's helmet. Slowly, I don't know if you can see.
Okay, I'm trying to get. I can't even get this thing through the brush. First of all, where's another one?
It's right on top of your helmet. You can't reach it. Bring it slowly away.
Do a torque control gap. And just for your record.
And Steve, as you get everything...
20.4. 20.9 on the actual tool. And I got the bolt head stowed in the the bolt.
That was expected. And once you get things stowed, if you give us a good glove and hap check due to the sharp edges, or sorry, glove check due to the sharp edges, and we're talking about next steps.
Okay. Oh, good. Right glove is good. Both gloves are good. Might be a small bump on the RTV on my right glove. Can't tell if it's a... It hasn't penetrated RTV. Might need to get inside. Well, might need to take a look at that later on.
Okay, you have spot on the RTV on the right glove, and you believe it's limited to just the RTV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good word, Steve. We're obviously talking about this one a little bit. Big picture, we're at 5 hours of PET.
Hours in today's spacewalk, NASA astronaut Steve Bowen. He and Sultan Alneyadi, UAE astronaut, are working to remove the
Sultan, we're going to have you use the pry bar to put some pressure on the back of the box, while Steve, we're going to have you pull it. You could do the gentle left-right wiggle, but we're going to see if by chance this might have been released.
All right, we'll give it a shot.
Okay, ready when you are, Steve.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Easy. I'll go left, right, still no motion. Still push, left, right, left. And we're getting nothing there.
We copy.
The two astronauts have been working to remove the RFG, the radio frequency group. However, there was one bolt that was stuck and not allowing them to remove it from the stanchion. That bolt broke during troubleshooting procedures, and teams are now looking through future steps for the rest of the spacewalk.
Okay, Sultan, we're going to have you head back to the staging bag in the airlock, and we're going to have you pick up the EVA hammer. We think that we might be able to loosen up the cling of the jacking bolt with the use of the EVA hammer. Again, that's in the staging bag in the airlock.
Teachers astronauts another to attempt and help remove the RFG from its station. The 8 structural released by Bowen all moved as planned. However, the one center jacking bolt would not remove and eventually sheared off. And a reminder, this hardware was not planned to be modified or serviced during a spacewalk, so the goal overall, though, is to have it removed, brought inside the space station, and returned to Earth for refurbishment ahead of another launch to the station. This hardware is part of the S-band system, which is our critical command and data link to and from the station. Obviously, redundant in the communication that we do today. In this view from one of the cameras external on the space station, we have a great view of the Canadarm2, on which Steve Bowen is attached. At the top of your screen, that beautiful blue glow is the Pacific Ocean, the space station traveling 261 statute miles above and approximately 17,500 miles per hour, or 5 miles per second. Meanwhile, Emirati astronaut Sultan Alneyadi, on his first spacewalk, which is also the first spacewalk for United Arab Emirates, has made his way back to the airlock to retrieve an additional tool to assist in troubleshooting with removal of the RFG.
And just status for you, Steve, as you hang out there, it does look like Sultan's in the staging bag in the airlock. We're going to use the EVA hammer on that soft notch that's on the back of the RFG.
A rare day when you get to use the EVA hammer.
We got to cut something, and now we're going to use a hammer. And when he uses a hammer on the back, we're going to let you kind of wiggle the RFG with the handles.
I will try.
Hey, Steve, as you're sitting there, we're talking about some of the FOD that was generated. Can you give us an idea of how many pieces of FOD you think? We're tracking a bolt and a washer. Did you see anything else?
I don't. I've got the bolt head. There were two washers that I saw. I don't think I saw much of anything else. But I caught the bolt head and the two washers. I thought I had one, but it disappeared on me. I didn't see anything else. It was pretty quick.
Okay, it was. It was a great, actually. So we did see you get the bolt head, and so we're just kind of thinking through where the washers could be specifically because you're close to the arm. Did you happen to see what direction the washers went in?
Well, kind of tracked both of them initially. If one of them was sitting on top of my head for a while, but it was drifting behind us shortly thereafter. He said I couldn't get it.
I agree. Two washers. The first one was immediately behind Steve and moving toward the other. And the second one, it was moving slowly. It was going station. That's what it is.
And a brief loss of signal with the International Space. We're discussing with the astronauts some of the pieces from the radio frequency group that came apart whenever trying to remove it from its stanchion. We will regain communication shortly once satellite handed over. Meanwhile, we are now 5 hours and 11 minutes into today's spacewalk. A recap so far, the first main task has been completed. That was to route some cables and secure some...
Head toward you, Steve.
Okay, we copy that the thermal cover is closed, and if you get a safer handle check.
Negative, not yet. Thermal cover is to be closed now.
Sorry, yes, we're with you on voice, and we don't quite have your video yet.
Both safer handles down.
Copy, both safer handles down. Thanks. And Sultan, as you get back out to the work site, we're going to have you to position on the aft side of the RFG. When we use the hammer, we're going to be specifically using it on the soft dock catch.
Okay, I'm back in position.
Okay, copy. So you can see kind of out by your left hand is the soft dock catch. It's that little gold square that sticks out from just above the stanchion. And we want you to position so that you can hit that with the hammer, but that if you happen to miss it, you're biased down toward the stanchion side. There's a thin piece of MLI that protects that stanchion, and we do not want to strike the box with a hammer, so we want to make sure that you're in a good position to get the soft dock catch or slightly biased below it.
Copy all. Both. The specific side of the hammer, rubber side or the metal side?
Yeah, the black rubber edge. The non.
Moving. I don't see any motion.
Okay, we copy.
This view from the helmet camera of Sultan Alneyadi.
And Sultan, you can verify that neither the soft catch nor the box are moving?
Get it. Well, soft dock is wiggling down forward and aft. And there is like a dark line it's for an alignment, and that is not moving as well. And no forward motion.
Okay, we copy.
This view, a rare use of the EVA hammer, as the astronauts attempt to remove the RFG, the radio frequency group, from its stanchion.
Okay, we copy. Thanks for the try. You can go ahead and stow that tool. You can just put it in the crew lock bag or on your MWS, whichever you prefer. And we are talking steps to reinstall the RFG.
Right, copy.
Copy.
Again, the RFG that the astronauts are working to remove was never intended to be serviced during a spacewalk. Steve Bowen was able to remove the 8 structural bolts, but had issues with the 1 jacking bolt still keeping the hardware attached to its stanchion. That bolt head sheared off during troubleshooting procedures.
Okay, you can continue cleaning up that aft work site there. Steve, we're going to have you redrive the bolts in. So you know this is going to be one of those iterative bolt processes where you're going to drive it for 5 turns, and then we're going to look at the running torque and then give you a final torque. The first bolt we're going to start with is the far left bolt, Bolt Juliet. Your settings are Bravo 1, clockwise 2, and we want you to drive for 5 turns, and it's important to not release the PGT trigger until 5 turns, and then let us know the peak running torque.
Okay. Bravo 1, clockwise 2. Going 5 turns to get peak running torque, going all the way to the left at Julie.
Good readback.
Okay. Okay, starting turns. Going clockwise.
Because the RFG will...
And I got an actual running torque of 0. I'm not sure let me take a look, see if it's bit. It looks like it's bit at all.
We copy.
Well, maybe it has. It doesn't seem as far out as the others. It has definitely gone in. It just has 0 running torque. It must have just entered.
We copy. Stand by.
The RFG was unable to be removed as intended today. Therefore, Steve Bowen will redrive the structural bolts to hold it in place.
Okay, Steve, with 0 running torque, we're going to have you put the PGT in ratchet clockwise and the MTL at 2.5 foot-pounds.
Ratchet clockwise, move the MTL to 2.5. Bye. All right, MTL's at 2.5. I'm ratchet clockwise. You ready for me to go to motor?
Yeah, so you should just, at this point, just ratchet clockwise.
So you want me to try and just ratchet this thing in? Okay.
And it will probably be an additional 5 turns, Steve. For Sultan,
I'm not sure what I'm getting for turns. Go ahead, Dan.
yeah, I see that you're cleaning up the bags. For your steps, we're talking about the cables. And I think that you had the wire tie around the cables, but you had not tacked them down to a handrail. Is that correct?
That's affirmative, yes.
Okay, if you can get those stowed on a stanchion with a wire tie, you can, and otherwise we'll have to reinstall them.
Right, the handrail outside of vent. Are we closing the tent anyway?
Checking.
All right, I'm almost there. I don't know how many extra turns it was. Probably the 5.
Okay, Steve, we're going to do the same thing on Bolt Alpha. So we're going to start in Bravo 1. You have to reset the MTL to 12 foot-pounds. We'll go clockwise, too. Correction, 30.5.
Yay, MTL. Back to 30.5 on the MTL?
That's affirmative. And for Sultan, we'll end up kind of cleaning up everything back there. So your call on the cables, if you can tack them down out of the way, we will end up reinstalling that MLI.
I think if I just plug them under the RFG, they'll be secured. Plus, they're clamped, and we can cover with the tent. They'll be secured. They'll be in the tent.
We are good with that plan, Sultan.
A lot harder in gloves than it is in hand. All right, 30.5.
All right, good config. So we're Bravo 1, clockwise 2, 30.5. You're going to go on Bolt Alpha turns.
Bolt Alpha, 5 turns. Number 1, clockwise 2. All right. All right, manual ratchet. And we go to motor. I'm in motor. Bravo 1, clockwise 2. Bolt Alpha, 5 turns.
Good settings, good bolt.
1. 5 turns. 5.06 turns. 0.0.
Okay, we copy. And the good news is you can now just go to Alpha 1 and drive it in to...
That is much better news than going back to MTL. Bravo Alpha 1 to Alpha. Verifying I'm at Alpha 1 and clockwise 2 still.
Affirmative, clockwise 2.
And I'm going to go till fourth on Bolt Alpha.
Good words.
Here it comes.
Bowen is now driving the 8 structural bolt he was able to release earlier. We got stuck on the...
All right. about at 2.3 pounds at 4.90 turns.
Okay, we copy 2.3 and 4.9. And next we're going to go to the second in from the left, Volt Hotel, Bravo 1, clockwise 2, 5 turns.
Bravo 1, go back to Bravo. Clockwise 2, go 5 turns.
Okay, and Steve, actually standby 1. We don't need to do the iterative on this bolt, so you can go ahead and set it to Alpha 1, clockwise 2 to drive the whole way.
Okay, back to Alpha 1, clockwise 2, they drive it all the way. Right, here comes whatever letter this is, second from left. And 3 turns. Timed out. And so let me recal. On. Cal. Cal pass. Grid LED test. 3.1 volts. Okay, so Alpha 1, Alpha 2.
Good settings.
And the torque, correct? All right.
Okay, copy. We would like the same thing on Bolt Bravo, second one from the right.
Bolt Bravo.
Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
Alpha 1, clockwise 2, Bolt Bravo.
And used to drive the structural bolts he was able to release earlier today. However, that center jacking bolt, which is now missing, was sheared off, and the RFG was still attached to its stanchion. Therefore, it will not be brought inside today. Redriving these bolts allows the RFG to remain secure outside the station.
Relay 2.4 pounds, 10.77 turns.
Okay, we copy 10.77. Standby 1. Okay, Steve, we're going to have you do next is that the second we drove straight in with Alpha 1.
Yep.
We're going to take your PGT back to ratchet, and we're going to rackage counterclockwise, and we're going to have you release it half a turn, and then after that we're going to have you ratchet all the way in just like you did on the far left bolt. So the first thing you want to do right now is put your PGT in ratchet counterclockwise, and we're going to release half a turn on each of the last 3 bolts you did.
Okay, go rocket and I will release those 3 bolts I just drove, 1/2 of the turn.
That's words. This is just to save you from having to go back and forth between the regular and ratchet.
I appreciate it. All right. Turn.
Great turns, and you can do that on the other 2 as well.
All right, half turn. And last one. And will we change the MTL now?
Okay, so now you'll go ratchet clockwise with MTL 2.5.
Yeah, okay.
And while you're there, look your camera and get as many pictures of the backstop G at different angles that you can.
Going ratchet clockwise. MTL is at 2.5. And I'm going to probably give another half turn or so. Okay?
We concur.
Work. Yep, that was about half a turn, maybe a little bit more. And then coming back over here, the second one. That was just about a half turn. Let me get the last of the 4. Was about half a turn as well. Okay, those 4 bolts are manually set. The torque of 2.5 pounds.
All right, good work. Thanks for that, Steve. You can stow your PGT.
Okay. Okay, PGT is stowed.
Steve, you can release that large small ret.
Okay, that's complete.
We are 5 hours and 36 minutes into today's spacewalk. This view from the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Steve Bowen. You're looking at the RFG, the radio frequency group. We were unable to remove that from its stanchion today. The plan was to bring it inside for future refurbishment. So the astronauts just bolted it back in place, so it will remain safe outside the space station.
Okay, big picture. We are going to be moving a few pages ahead of the procedure. Sultan will be working ESP2 cleanup, and Steve, you're going to be working SSRMS cleanup. And so let me know if this is a good egress position for you, or if you'd like to go to the published APFR egress position, in which case we'll hand you back to Robo.
I can get out here. I'm not sure I can remove the APFR from here, but I'll get out and then I'll assess.
Okay, copy. And for Sultan, we are going to be reinstalling that MLI, so you can retrieve the pre-staged large small ret that you used to tie that back. Looks like you're already in work, and we'll be putting that back over the RFG with the 10-quarter turn fasteners.
Yes, copy. Work.
The astronauts are stepping cleanup procedures.
Yeah, look at the I'm definitely going to need to get a different position to remove the APFR. I can get my waist tether off of it. I'm still sticky tethered to it.
Steve Bowen on the left, wearing the red striped suit, is removing the articulating portable foot restraint from the Canadarm 2. On on the right is going to be recovering the hardware that the teams were working to remove with the layer insulation to keep.
And for Steve, or actually Steve or Sultan, whoever's in a best position to do it, we also would like some still photos of the front side of that RFG where the broken bolt is. And for Steve, if you could give us a look at the lee, in and around the lee, we know that those two washers kind of floated off. We just want to make sure that they're not somewhere obvious around the end of our arm.
Okay. Can you see the lee now? You want me to get closer and climb out on the APFR?
Okay. And Steve, it's your choice if you want to climb out there or wait till you take the APFR off.
I don't know if that helps that much. Let me get back.
Pretty good shot with your helmet cam, actually.
That's what I was hoping. I can get a. So, not sure if that's a little bit better. Could have them reposition. I could look straight down the barrel if you want.
Yeah, and your call, Steve. If you don't see anything, any FOD in that area, then that's good with us.
I don't see any FOD. Can't check the. Well, that would have been in the wrong direction. Must have bounced. Can't see the wires that are immediately next to me, whatever phase that is at this point. If that's aft. Yeah, I can't see the aft wire. Everything else is clear.
Okay, that's
Steve, we're ready to support GCA if you need it.
All right. Actually, let me see if I can reach my. Let's see. Yeah, I definitely need to reposition to get this thing out. Woody, I don't know if you guys can pitch just the end effector aft. I'll show what direction that is and current coordinates, and then I can look straight down the barrel and we can see if there's anything on the stairs in the other mechanisms.
okay. That's a good report, Steve. We're going to get you moving off the arm, and if you want the Frank to move the arm to APFR egress and removal position, we just want you to be aware that your safety tether base is still there.
Yep. I agree. So, Woody, I'm ready for you to move the arm to the published VA egress position.
Steve, we copied up an hour with just about 22 centimeters station meter.
Okay, I'm going to need to come. Go ahead.
Brakes are off.
Okay, I need about, I think it was 20 centimeters aft, and then 20 centimeters, 40 centimeters.
Steve, we copy 20 aft and 40 starboard. Stand by.
Is that correct? I'll make that port. I need it toward me. I'm sorry. Begin motion. Maybe I don't. I don't see motion. So what have you got?
Steve, we're going to begin GCA, and we're going to start with your 20 centimeters of station nadir motion.
Okay.
Starting motion.
Take good motion nadir.
Copy, good motion.
Now, Hoberg.
Centimeters of station course.
Thank you.
Hoberg is inside.
For a moment.
Right. Stop here.
Just stop there for a minute.
Left.
Can you continue another 20, Woody?
Firm, continue 20.
Thank
Station
you.
port.
Station port.
10 to your 20.
All right, that's a good position. Stop there.
Copy, hold position.
All right, and if I can get 20 centimeters aft.
Firm, 20 centimeters station aft.
I've got the clearance.
Copy. Thanks for watching the clearance, Steve.
All right, you can stop motion there.
Copy, hold position.
And you put the brakes on. I think we can get everything taken care of here.
Steve, we copy. GCA complete. Brakes are on.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and before we get into your tether swamp, a couple more words for Sultan and the cleanup. You're going to do those 10 quarter turn fasteners, and then you're going to be looking to stow the large small ret back into crew lock bag 1, and then we'll get ready for a crew lock bag 1 inventory. For Steve, we are ready for your safety tether swap, so when you have a local down, I will read you the steps when you're in position.
Okay, here we go. A bit better config here. All right, I have my right tether down, get close by the lock, and this is going to my left. Actually, and let's do it, I got to pick up the green hook, and I'll transfer it out to...
Yep, I can read
yeah,
you the...
right behind me, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay, all right. So this is behind me.
And Steve, Sultan might be able to help out with that reel. Sultan, if you look to your left, you might be able to help Steve out with his reel.
See the red wheel?
Right, copy. Done by Steve.
Okay.
Right. Six. Move body up now.
Body up.
Can you see your legs? There.
Is it off to my left now?
You're not.
Perfect, thank you. I'll make this a lot easier.
All right, great job. So, Steve, your first step is going to be to either lock or tether to the green tether reel.
I'm going to lock it and put a hook on the reel. Okay, got a large thread on it.
Okay, you can retrieve your green hook, and you're going to attach the green hook with the gate closed and hook locked to your red tether reel.
All right, that should work. The green hook is the red tether reel. That's complete.
Copy, and we want to lock that one.
It's locked.
Copy, the green hook is locked. You now go to release your yellow hook from the SSRMS handrail tether point.
All right, I can release the yellow hook. Get this hook off the green reel.
Astronauts Steve Bowen and Sultan Alneyadi are cleaning up their work sites. Alneyadi is reinstalling the multi-layer insulation over the S-band antenna group.
We're about 45 seconds to a handover, and Steve, once you get your yellow hook from the SSRMS handrail tether point, you're going to be attaching it to the green reel, ensuring that it's locked.
Copy.
Another handover of the tracking data and relay satellite system. The astronauts aboard the International Space Station began their spacewalk 5 hours and 53 minutes ago. This is a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk. The first major task was completed flawlessly when the astronauts routed the iROSA cable bundle. They also installed and secured some multi-layer insulation on the mod kits where future iROSAs will be installed. The second major task today was to remove the RFG, the radio frequency group, from its stanchion. This is part of the S-band antenna. However, the crew ran into some trouble with one bolt that was stuck and eventually sheared off and unable to remove it from the stanchion. Therefore, they re-secured it and have now moved into their cleanup tasks.
Alright, yellow hook and green, gate closed, slider locked. And I'm going to unlock my reels.
Okay, good word, Steve. We understand yellow hook is locked and on your green rail, and you unlocked it, so you do have good safety tether pack.
Alright, understand it's good safety tether pack. Alright, let's see which way it goes here.
All right, Steve, your next step is going to be to retrieve the APFR from the arm and stow it on your BRT. And Sultan, we see you working the MLI. We do have one delta step for you on the MLI. We're going to have to secure that clamshell down, so when you're at a stopping point, let me know, and I will give you words to go do that.
All right, 10 works, 10 works.
This is a view from Steve Bowen's helmet camera as he works to remove the articulating portable foot restraint from the cannon arm too.
We're already tracking, but we are going to continue these inside.
Yep, understand. All right, copy.
You are approaching 6 hours PET.
Okay, Woody, I might need you to do something here and take the APFR, well, take the arm, station port, well, station forward, yeah, take a station forward 30 centimeters, and then towards me, and that would be station. Correct, Woody?
Steve, we copy. The brakes are off. Begin GCA. We're going to start with a motion station forward 30 centimeters, and then we'll come station port.
Thank you.
motion, station forward.
Good motion. Continue motion.
Continue.
Continue to another 20.
Copy, continue another 20. Ten to go.
You can stop at that 10.
Okay, copy, Steve. That's your 20 now. 30 centimeter station port.
Yep, get 30 centimeter station port, and then we'll start from there.
Okay, Steve, starting motion. 30 centimeter station port.
All right, I'm watching.
Fifteen to go.
And we're going to need you to continue another 40 centimeters.
Steve, we copy additional 40 centimeter station port. Starting motion.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
6 hours since the start of the spacewalk, NASA astronaut Woody Hoberg inside the space station is maneuvering the Canadarm2. The astronauts outside are working through their cleanup tasks and preparing to ingress after those are complete.
Steve, that's your 40.
Okay. Stop there and then bring me the station aft 30 centimeters.
We copy station aft 30 centimeters. Starting motion. Scene to go.
And you stop at that 15.
And Steve, that's your 30 centimeters complete.
Thank you. Perfect. If brakes on, I'll take the APFR off from here.
Steve, we copy GCA complete.
All right, we copy.
Steve, brakes are on. Your go for APFR removal.
All right, Steve, you can get the APFR. Sultan.
And I'm ready for...
Perfect. Words for you. So we're going to have you take an AET from your MWS, and we're going to go over to the clamshell MLI. So we basically need to recreate the strap that we cut earlier. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to have you loop the AET through the clamshell handrail. So it can't be a hook to the handrail. It's got to be looped through and then hooked to itself. And then you're going to take the hook end of the AET, and on the other side of the RFG from where you're at, there's some black seams along that Velcro seam, and you can hook the AET to that.
Okay, I don't see any black seams here on the side.
It's just on the other side of that if you translate around to your left.
I mean the Steve side.
Yeah, good word. So it's over on Steve's side. It's kind of that Velcro seam. It's right along where that Velcro seam was that you buttoned up when you put it back on. And there should be some black loops.
Copy, I see it. I see it, and I'm just waiting for Steve to go. I have two fasteners on that forward area.
Okay, Steve, it's going to go on your BRT, and you're going to be heading out to the port Cedar Cart via the same path that you took this way, so over the lab to the gap spanner and up the struts. And you'll be picking up that fair lead that you left with the AET earlier on the lab struts.
All right, I'm alert. Clear my tether for once.
And Steve, as you translate, we'd appreciate if you double check the ingress aid to make sure that it's retracted.
It is fully retracted and folded over. Thank you for asking, and thank you for checking.
Copy, Steve. Thank you for that. And you can head out to your fair lead on the lab strut.
And that's the lobster fair lead.
And Sultan, you can just position that hook on black tether loops, whichever one you think is the best fit. And then again, the AET is going to get looped through the clamshell handrail and then hooked back to itself.
All right, copy that and in walk.
Stephen Sultan, just for awareness, the robotic arm is going to be maneuvering station forward away from ESP2 to a park position.
And I copy. Thank you, Woody.
And thanks, copy. Thanks for the copy.
All right, stopping to pick up my fair lead.
We copy. You're picking up your fair lead.
Arm is starting motion, station forward.
Okay, adjustable equipment tether is installed in the clamshell on one side and to the jack group on the tent, the other few sides.
All right, good work, Sultan. We saw the same thing. We like that config. So we're going to have you head back over to crew lock bag 1. And there was a large small that you had pre-staged outside of that. We want to make sure that's back on the crew lock.
I didn't work on, but I need to do 2 more fasteners that I haven't done. Then the 4th side.
And for big picture, Sultan, when you
go back in 3.
And yes, for Steve, you're going back into width 3, which is the top left.
All right. Thank you.
And your settings are 6, Papa Papa, Fox 6.
Papa Papa Fox 6. Okay.
Good work. And for Sultan, as you get back to the crew lock bag, I'm going to have you check a couple items. We're not going to do a full crew lock bag inventory, but I'm going to have you check off a couple items that we used on the CBA.
Again, there a minute, your full view.
Bowen and Alneyadi continue cleanup procedures during today's spacewalk. As you can see, the articulating portable foot restraint has been removed from the Canadarm2. Meanwhile, Alneyadi has been covering the S-band antenna with the MLI that was removed prior to attempts to remove the RFG from its stanchion.
All right. I've got black on back, the good wiggle pull test. And 6, Papa Papa, Fox 6. If I could still in place.
Okay, copy. See, the check knob is locked and it can be.
This knob is locked. It can be depressed. The problem with this one is the collar or the lift actuation mechanism. It again gave me the indications that it was locked, black on black, but it was not locked, and it wouldn't say it. And it was. I actually tried to take it back out, pushed it back in to get it to go black on black. It's in now, but I don't have high confidence in the collar on this one. It was difficult to move the collar.
Okay, yeah, we can fix the word, Steve, and we've got those notes down. So at this point, you are actually go to give me a glove and half inspection, please.
Okay, let me get the thread.
Bag. The aged girl.
That's affirmative. It's hooked to the back again.
Copy, and then we want you to verify that the hammer and the pry bar are in the crew lock bag.
We have got the hammer and the pry bar in the crew lock bag. And you can confirm from my view as well.
Okay, copy. And then the other last two things we want to check is the wire tie caddy and then the series that you had put together to use that we didn't use.
Okay, the wire tie caddy is inside. Just checking for the wire
and you do not need to open the bag.
Last time I checked it in. Under the wire caddy.
Okay, good word, Sultan. You're going to put that on your BRT, and then we're going to have you translate back over to where you installed the AET, and I'm going to have you do one quick adjustment on it on your way back to the airlock.
All right, copy and work.
All right, and my gloves are getting up this right.
Copy, Steve. So you can translate off of the seat port, and as you do so, please depress the port seat brake pedals twice as you go by, and then you can translate to the anchor hooks.
The port seat brake, I go by. I will put that in work. Okay, depress twice.
And we copy the brake pedals. Thank you. And Steve, sure, we'll take it as you go by.
They're started.
And we're about 5 minutes from sunrise.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll look back to our BRT, ready for clamshell extra work.
Yeah, so the AET, we had you loop one side on the clamshell, and then the other side we said to hook it. What we'd like is just two sides hooked and hook it and loop it through just like you did the other side. So therefore, both sides are looped through and hooked back to the AET itself.
Okay, I see. Thanks. I'll do that now.
And Steve, reminder, you're looking for mile marker 5760.
Yeah, I thought I could, maybe I could run down and put those other two bags back in the crew lock. Give Sultan one less thing to do. How does that sound for a plan?
With that? Yeah, copy. We're good with that plan.
Okay, yeah, head down there right now.
Okay, ET, loop back to itself, both sides.
We're still on. Translate. So as you get back to the airlock, you can coordinate how you guys want to get things back in. We have crew lock bag 2 and crew lock bag 3 above the airlock toolboxes, and we have the GoPro on the side of the crew lock.
Copy that. All right, Sultan, I'm right here. I can hand you down the bags. Once you put your crew lock bag in, I'll hand you these bags.
This is Mission Control Houston. We have a handover of our satellites that allow us to communicate with the International Space Station. Both astronauts Steve Bowen and Sultan Alneyadi have completed the cleanup portion of today's spacewalk. They are now moving back toward the Quest airlock.
That's rough. Point of view.
Oh, I see it.
They have a couple bags to retrieve that will be stowed in the airlock. Afterward, both astronauts will close the hatch once they have missed.
It'll open the thermal cover.
And we copy thermal cover open. And a reminder, you have 3 large small rests on that D 1, 2, 3.
Copy, Ann. Thanks.
Sultan, just for your awareness, we're looking at the SCUs. Good call by your crewmate inside. And just note that both of the SCUs are kind of the forward side of the airlock. So before you ingress, you may want to move Steve's onto the aft side of the airlock.
Right. Back.
I was going to bring down, you can come out.
All right, just crew lock back number 1 and then...
Yeah, and then come back out. I'll give you crew lock bag number 2 and number 3.
All right.
And then we'll be, you can get the GoPro while I run out to the...
All right.
Let me get the... Rest to both of the crew lock bags. And then bend down.
And we copy?
Actually, I can probably grab that GoPro too. Take these right now. You're ready. Here's crew lock bag number 2.
You want to English all the way?
What's that?
You want it English?
I want you to put this inside.
Okay, I'll do that. Let me route your SCU first.
Okay.
Do you have a visual of my race tether? It's my other race tether, and large hook is get closed, lock, black on black. Small hook, get closed, lock, black on black. Okay, can you use the race tether from your side?
Okay.
Race tether, can you reduce it from your side?
What waist tether?
To the handrail.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. I've got 2 handfuls of bags. If you already bought the FCUs, I can hand these bags to you.
Alright. Hold on.
Actually, I'll release that waist tether. I can do that. Right here.
Yeah, that'd be helpful, and I'll be ready once you're done.
Okay, your waist tether is released.
Okay, thanks.
And I don't have any place to hook it.
Just release it. Okay. Be secure inside.
This view from Sultan Alneyadi's helmet camera as he is inside the crew lock portion of the Quest airlock.
And Steve, can you confirm that's both 2 and 3 crew lock bags?
I have 2 and 3 right next to me.
Okay, copy.
Both
Thanks.
ready and rigged and head in.
Okay, Steve, ready.
All right, here's 2. Get it?
Hold on.
All right, let me try and roll over a little bit more. Okay, here's 2.
This view outside the airlock as NASA astronaut Steve Bowen prepares to ingress.
I'm going to release.
Okay. Good.
They're coming your way.
Got it. Let go. All right. And here's your back through.
International Space Station recently crossed into an orbital daytime, but in the distance you can see Earth's moon, the destination of NASA's Artemis program.
You have a red to it?
I'd like me release my rat suit back to you. I've got too many rats out here.
Okay, you can do that.
Okay, here comes that rat coming up to you. All right? All right, give me 1 second. I'll go get the GoPro, and then I'll head out, and we'll...
And we can bags 110 airline. So Steve, you can also go out to the anchor hooks.
Right. And the GoPro attached.
Copy. And we see you translating out.
Well, that's the, I'm going to translate. Pop me in that for Sultan, then I'll head out. I've got too many hooks on me right now.
Copy.
Okay, Sultan, if you're ready to receive this, I'll give you the big hook. Then tell me when you got to secure it to something. Let me get the... Right. I see what you're doing. Once you just attach the tip, right? Big hook. You get it. Release it. All right. I'm going to head out to the host.
All right, I'll be waiting for you.
Good work.
That's good.
Out to mile marker 5760.
5760 on my way.
And just yeah, do check.
All right, 5760.
Okay, copy, Steve.
Configured here.
All right, Steve, as you get set, your first step is going to be to ret to EV2's anchor hook. It's the one that's on 3217, the diagonal inboard handrail.
3217, ret to the anchor hook. All right. Release the tension in that a little bit.
Steve Bowen continues procedures. We are now 6 hours and 34 minutes into today's spacewalk. Emirati astronaut Sultan Alneyadi has ingressed to the crew lock Porsche West airlock.
So Steve, you're going to ret to that one as you are. Then you're going to release it and hook it to your anchor hook, that anchor hook to your waist tether with gate closed, sliders locked.
All right. I'm going to get my waist tether ready. At my right waist tether. To the top. All right. That's his tether. Green blank hook. Gate closed, slider lock. My right waist tether. Gate closed, slider locked.
Copy, Steve. That is a good safety tether config. That's now your primary safety tether path. You are now go to release your anchor hook from 3011 just to your left, and you can stow it on your workstation.
All right, 37.
for your awareness, Steve, all my wheels are all hooks are locked black on black, attached to the airlock. Both hooks are closed, locked black on black. You're good to go.
All right, and head back.
And we copy, Steve. And good word, Sultan. And as you move inboard, just a reminder, as you go by the CETA cart, we'd like you to depress those brake pedals 2 times.
All right. You get caught on handrails that didn't know existed.
And Sultan, now that Steve's heading back your way, you are go to remove your SCU from the stowage pouch and remove your DCM cover and connect your SCU to your DCM.
Right, copy, we'll put that in work.
As well as Sultan Alneyadi's anchor hook. Steve Bowen is headed back to the airlock following his safety tether.
And Sultan, you can also turn your HECA off.
All right.
The view below Bowen is that of the North Pacific Ocean as the space station travels 260 statute miles above it.
And LEDs off.
Copy, LED off.
All right. CETA cart. Forward CETA cart, brakes depressed.
We copy, brakes depressed, so you can head back to the airlock. And as you enter the airlock, you can also turn off your HECA.
All right. Down through the spur. And then, if you could relay something to the SMCT, we'd like to take our queen to take on Foxtrot 6.
We understand Queen to Fox 6.
And we'd like Costa to make that move if he can before he gets really dizzy.
He's on it.
This wire tie on 554, what's that supposed to do? Long wire tie?
So, Steve, that's to assist if the thermal cover doesn't stay closed, so we can leave it where it is. If you think it might be in the way, you can set it low profile.
That's what I just did. Thank you. I didn't know if there was some additional
Good check. We appreciate
But
it.
I'm going to take taking my legs in, and I'm going to see if I can reach the...
Okay, Steve, you're good to go. I have all the bags and the forwards and made for you.
Salve, galera.
Get the cover.
Good work. We'll have you ingress and close the thermal cover.
Buenas, galera. Boa tarde a todos. Então, estão retornando ali, a gente consegue ver o fechamento da escotilha, hein? E a gente já vai encerrando aqui a transmissão, hein? Só um acompanhamento aí de leve. Caminhada espacial aí. Trabalhos executados aqui pelo astronauta Steve ali dos Estados Unidos. E o outro é árabe, se não me engano. O Sultan Alneyadi. Estão fechando ali, voltando para cápsula airlock, onde eles vão estabilizar a pressão interna ali, para que eles possam tirar os trajes espaciais. A gente consegue observar ali. E a cena da parafusadeira lá tava cômica, né? Eu, no fim, não pude acompanhar ali o que aconteceu. Mas a gente pôde observar, né, que houve algum problema técnico ali. Que ele estava literalmente usando como se ela fosse uma chave de fenda, né? Mas esperamos aí que eles tenham conseguido concluir aí as atividades que estavam sendo realizadas aí no suporte ali na parte da estrutura elétrica ali. Eles estão trabalhando há um bom tempo, né? Já se instalaram aí novos painéis solares. Então segue os trabalhos aí. E a gente vai encerrando por aqui. Um forte abraço a todos. Eu estou acompanhando aqui, o céu ainda está limpo aqui. Agora eu vou dar uma olhada na posição da Lua, ver se eu tenho ângulo de condições de fazer live aqui. De repente, mais tarde, rola uma live lunar, aí seria bem interessante. A gente está aí com... A gente está aí com 60 e poucos % da lua iluminada. Ontem foi quarto crescente, se eu não me engano. Então fazer uma live hoje seria bem legal, hein? Eu vou dar uma estudada aí. E aí, se for, a gente marca ali. Não vai ser muito tarde também, porque as condições, né? As condições de céu aqui, elas podem ficar comprometidas, tá, galera? Lembrando aqui as nossas redes sociais, o nosso Instagram, o nosso Facebook, nosso patrocinador aí, nosso parceiro aí do canal. E também lá nosso Telegram. Tá, nosso Telegram. E também a gente tá com um grupo temporário do Telegram, tá hora bloqueia, hora desbloqueia. Não sei se resolveram. Eu vi que hoje estava um pouco instável. A gente tem um canal agora no WhatsApp ali. Abri um canal temporário ali para manter uma comunicação. Então o WhatsApp acaba sendo um pouco mais popular, né? Deixa eu ver se eu tô com o link aqui. O meu Celeron velho aqui já tá pedindo água, gente. Oi, Flora. Muito obrigado, querida. Muito obrigado. Seja sempre bem-vindo. Obrigado pelas sugestões, né? Se eu tivesse mais tempo, assim, sei que no próprio Telegram também tem muita coisa, né, automatizada ali de boot. E o Discord é excelente para isso, né? Quem sabe no futuro a gente consegue fazer lá. É que essa parte aí eu faço tudo sozinho, então falta tempo e braço. Ó, vou deixar aqui quem não faz parte lá. No canal no WhatsApp a gente pode trocar com a comunicação lá também. Quando tiver alguma coisa eu aviso. Então, se eu fizer a live hoje, mais tarde, eu vou avisar aonde for possível. Tá bom, galera? Obrigado pela presença de todos. Um sextou a todos aí, ó. A gente já tá vendo com as imagens. Ah, isso é legal. Eu vou deixar rodando a live mais um pouco aí. Porque quando é os russos, eles não deixam, eles não ficam mostrando, né? Essa parte aí. Quando eles entram ali, né, na Estação Espacial, tiro o traje, né? Vou deixar rolando. Eu ia encerrar a live aqui, mas não vou encerrar. Vou deixar rolando. Valeu, Marcelo. Vou deixar rolando. Porque tem mais ali a parte agora da pressurização da cápsula lock, e eles vão entrar ali vão tirar a roupa ali, né? A roupa espacial ali é legal ali. Os caras desmontar todo o aparato é um trabalheira, né? Lembrando que eles estão ali eles estão desde de manhã, eles estão há mais de 7 horas, se não me engano. Tinha aparecido o reloginho ali, eu já esqueci. Era uma caminhada prevista em torno de 6h30. Então desde de manhã ali, então deve estar com fome, né? Então são obrigados a fazer um jejum ali intermitente. Vou deixar rodando aí, galera. Daqui a pouco eu volto aqui. Vou botar o áudio de volta lá. Valeu, Florinha. Bom fim de também. Bom feriado a todos aí. Se beberem, não dirijam. Muito importante, tá? Por favor. E eu olhava o Thundercats, viu, Flora? Thunder, Cats. Uou! É da minha época. Passava em domingo de meio-dia. 9 por semana. Naquela época não é que nem agora. Que abre o celular ali, tem 300. As crianças escolhem o que quer assistir, né? Sei pelo meu filho. Ah, eu quero olhar. Hoje tá. Não. Lá passava uma vez por semana e tu tinha. Se perdesse já era, né? Uma vez por semana que passava, já era. Não tinha TV a cabo, não tinha. É, Marcelo. Olha, nunca provei, né, Flora? Mas quem vai saber, né? Falando nisso, para quem não sabe, aqui na Serra Gaúcha, em Canela, né, vai abrir o Space Adventure, a exposição da NASA. E tem, né? Tem exposto as comidas da Rússia, a da NASA. Tem várias comidas expostas lá. Eu sei que quando eu fui a São Paulo, né, em 2021, que a exposição estava lá no Shopping Dourado, com o professor Sacani, com o Serjão lá do Space Today, a gente viu lá. Agora estarão expostas aqui na Serra Gaúcha. Bom, eu vou botar o áudio original aqui. Daqui a pouco eu volto, eu vou deixar rodando aqui e vou dar uma espiada como é que tá a lua aí. O sol tá alto aqui ainda. Aqui no Rio Grande do Sul anoitece mais tarde. Daqui a pouco eu volto aí, pessoal. Vamos ver. Eles vão mostrar ali a saída dos astronautas ali. Eles têm que estar. Às vezes estão de. Uma vez que eu acompanhei, estavam de dois tirando ali o. Tirando a. Desmontando a roupa dos caras, né? Punk.
The airlock. Steve Bowen will close the door, close the airlock hatch, ahead of beginning repressurization. We're now at 6 hours and 54 minutes into the spacewalk. Again, that spacewalk started when the spacesuits were set to battery power. This view.
Okay, we copy that the EV hatch is closed and locked. Sultan, on the UIA, can check that oxygen EMU 1 and 2 valves are open.
Okay, if you oxygen EMU 1 and 2 are open.
You can switch the power EV1 and 2 to on and verify the LEDs and volts.
Right, copy. And on EV2. And I have two EMUs, LEDs are on.
Copy, and verify volts are 18 to 19.
That's affirmative. EV1, 18.6, EV2, 18.5. And I have amps 0 on EV1 and 0.02 on EV2.
Okay, we copy. So both of you on your DCMs, you can switch power to SCU and expect a warning tone.
Okay, EV1 power to SEU. Restart. EV2 and SEU.
Copy, and with that, I will hand you back over to Woody.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, everybody. And
Thanks so much.
Steve Sultan, welcome back. We're looking forward to getting you inside. On your DCM, I'll have you take your O2 actuators to press.
okay, O2 had to come under press.
As you do that, verify that O2 act press is displayed on your DCM.
Ground IV Ann McLean has handed duties back over to Suit IV Woody Hoberg. This view of the equipment lock portion.
Okay, O2 actuator press on EV2. Give me a minute. on. Oh my goodness. Okay, O2 actuator to press.
Okay, Steve, copy. And for both of you, just confirm you saw that O2 act press displayed on your DCM.
Set O2 act press. To get it over.
And we've now crossed into the 7-hour mark of today's spacewalk, that beginning at 11 a.m. Central Time, 8:11 a.m. Central Time.
We got nice one, Steve. Steve, on the EV hatch, check that the MPEV is closed.
MPEV is closed.
Copy closed. All right, we're going to start the crew lock repress now at 2012. Let me know if the rate will start slow.
All right, thank you.
Repressurization of the crew lock portion of the Quest airlock has begun.
And for awareness, when we get the pressure up to 4.0 psi, you can expect an alert tone.
Copy. True call. Pressure increasing.
How's the rate feeling?
Feels good here. Good.
And with repressurization of the crew lock beginning, that rounds out today's spacewalk. It's our limit, 8:11 a.m. Central Time and ending at 3:12 p.m. Central Time. Pressure in the crew lock is now 1.27 psi and climbing. During today's spacewalk, the astronauts were able to route some cables as well as secure some multi-layer insulation that prepares 2 mod kits for future installation of the iROSAs. These are International Space Station rollout solar arrays that we expect to arrive later this summer. The crew then moved on to the RFG, or the radio frequency group that's part of the S-band antenna. The goal today was to remove the RFG. However, they ran into a difficult bolt, which ended up breaking off and able to remove that portion of equipment. the team restored the equipment and the International Space Station. The astronauts then moved into cleanup period before ingressing the airlock, and again we are in repress. Again, that rounds us out at a 7-hour